Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Podcast. I'm Jason Abrams, and this is the place where we lift the curtain on the world of real estate like never before. Every week, I sit down with visionaries, pirates, and mavericks. We're here to document, demonstrate, and most importantly, demystify their game-changing models and systems. What secrets propel them to the top? And how are they living their dreams? This is about passion, it's about strategy, but above all, it's about real, tangible success. So buckle up and let's dive in. This is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Podcast. Okay, when was the last time that you made a social media post that got shared more than 270 times, created 20 plus referrals, and 34 other people who wanted immediate CMAs? You want my prediction? Never. My guess is you've never done that, friends. You know who does that every single week? Laura Gillott. Friends, Laura's been in the business since the late 80s. She sells over 350 units a year, and I'm talking well over $150 million in business. The way she uses social media to get those leads, to get those CMAs, to get those referrals is nothing short of brilliant. We're going to unpack it in detail. Sit back, buckle up. This is Laura Gillott. Laura, how are you?
I'm doing well.
So you run a massive business, one of the biggest ones in Oregon. I mean, it's inspiring. And I want to unpack that. But before I do, I want to go all the way back to the start. So tell us, how did you find the greatest industry in the world?
Well, I was young. I was like 22. I had already purchased my first home when I was 18, one of those $5,000 down land sale contracts. My payment was like $250 a month, 10% interest. I was so excited. Sold my Firebird, my 1967 Firebird, to help buy this lovely house over on Dodge Street. And then we sold that house and purchased another home for my parents. So got a little bit introduced to the real estate industry through that. And then my dad was coming back to Oregon and said, hey, can you look for me some houses? And I was doing that on the weekends, looking for properties.
I want to ask you, because it's kind of incredible. You bought your first home. How old were you?
18.
Okay, so that's really unusual. Today, there's this generation of almost renters that they rent into their 40s. And I can't figure it out. At 18 years old, what called you to home ownership?
I really don't know. I think I was just young and my parents said you should buy something. And I sold that Firebird and we had the $5,000. And I thought, well, we could do a land sale contract. And I remember at that time, I thought that I could buy a home like in the $60,000 range. This is back in 87. So we put a couple offers in and realized that we didn't qualify because we were young and had no credit, no nothing to go off of. So we had to go find one of those owner carries, and it worked out really smoothly. And it's just kind of how it got started. I didn't really know any different.
That's so crazy to me. So then dad says he wants to buy, and just on a whim, you start looking on the weekends?
Yeah, he lived in California, he was coming up. So I was looking for property for him. So when he came up on the weekends, he could go view properties. And I just really liked it. I was going to college to be early childhood education. And I thought I might want to run my own daycare center. And so I started going to school for that, and then said, hey, I think I'd like real estate better than running a kindercare or some kind of a daycare system in our town. And now doing this ever since.
Little did you know how similar the two businesses were.
Yeah, I was going to say it, but I didn't want to offend anybody. But yeah, a lot of babysitting.
But they're all out there laughing, I promise. Okay, so then do you start going to real estate school? Are you 19 at that time?
I'm 22.
Okay.
So 22, started going to real estate school, really enjoyed it, passed with flying colors, and then joined a local company here in our town and stayed there for like 4 years. Like within the first year, realized I had to have an assistant And that was back in 92. So that was a little bit different than most had. No one else had an assistant in the office, but I suffer from a little bit of dyslexia and don't make the best flyers. That time we were doing everything on paper and didn't have the best handwriting and stuff. It's if I had an assistant to help me at least like 20 hours a week there in the office, that I could be out in the field more. And so I shared my office with her and started getting the leverage right away. And that helped me. I think the second or third year, I got some award. I think I did 75 transactions.
That's incredible to me. Gary Keller, and if you're new to the program, Gary Keller and Jay Papasan and Dave Jenks wrote the book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, which is the namesake for this show. So if we mention Gary, that's who we're talking about. Gary once told me that people think of constraint as a weakness or a problem. But in his life, when he's had natural constraints or he's put constraint like time and said, well, I'm only going to do it from this time to this time, that's actually forced him to be even more efficient. And what you just said, Laura, if you hadn't been dyslexic, you might not have hired that assistant.
Yeah.
And that might have changed everything.
It very well could have. And I realized right off the bat that, leverage caused me to be able to do more transactions. And so it was very helpful for me to get that right off the bat.
And how did you generate all those leads back in 92? What was the thing?
Well, I came in as one of the newer agents into our office and newer agents into the industry. And the old agents were kind of set in their ways. So they weren't taking the classes. They weren't doing that. They weren't we used Top Producer like fully back then, had my floppy disks and stuff. But I just emerged into going to education and learning and implementing those things because I didn't know any different. So I just went in both feet and went around, talked to people and working by referral and being the community mayor and just started in that way. And so the nice thing is that from the very beginning in 92, I started with the database. And so I've been working that database ever since. And I never went like 10 years and go, oh my gosh, I don't have my database. I was able to use that the whole time since the very beginning. We still deal with our clients that we sold property in 92.
So when you look back, you were sitting in people's kitchens and living rooms in 92. We're sitting here today in 2024. Have what the buyer and seller wanted changed over the last 30 plus years?
Not much, no. Probably the way they look for properties changed a little bit from back then because we had the old paper MLS books. We'd get the supplement midway through the month. So probably that has changed a little bit. But other than that, they're all requesting the same features and livability and what they want in their properties.
It's so interesting because if you read the news, it would have you believe that the industry is completely different. But then when I talk to people that have had success throughout it over time, like you have, you tell me it's not that much different.
It's not.
So fast forwarding to today, 350 units a year, more than $150 million in volume. Your business has gotten so big. What's the thing that y'all do so well that keeps this thing moving forward?
Well, I kind of wanted to talk about a new piece that we discovered a few years ago, right around COVID, that's been working really well for us. I kind of wanted to share through how it's been turning. So we have our Facebook database or our social media database, and we've been converting that database into our CRM and into transactions. And I kind of wanted to walk you through how that's been working for us and how great it is to be able to add more to our database every week, every month, every year.
I love that. Okay, Laura, tell us exactly how to do that.
Okay, that sounds good. The first thing we do is we look for online giveaways and different events that are happening in town that we can pair up with, or tangible items like Yeti coolers, barbecue, Stanley cups, those types of things. But what really seems to work well is experiences. Like we had purchased a box seating at our local racetrack. It's just a dirt racetrack in our town. It's got 6 VIP seats that we purchased at the beginning of the year. I think it cost us like $3,000 to purchase those box seats. And then each week we run a giveaway on our social media that people can sign into and register to be put in the drawing to win those seats.
I love that. By the way, if you're out there, I just want to remind you, if you're driving in your Range Rovers or you're at the charging station with the Tesla, don't worry about taking the notes. I'm sitting here with a pen. I'm taking the notes. If you don't get them, you can sign up at MREAnotes.com. MREAnotes.com, and they come out every Thursday. So I'm documenting this. So Laura, step one, find something to give away.
Yes, find something to give away. And then once you get your giveaway, you're going to take that and put it onto social media. And we use a lot of Facebook. We have like 8,000 followers on Facebook. So it's a good platform for us to use, but we also share it on Instagram and some other ones. I'll do an example that we did for Mother's Day giveaway. So we purchased a package at the Boys and Girls Club. So at these different auctions that you can go to, you can either do a paddle raise and give them $1,000, or you can go and buy something at the auction for $1,000. And we normally do that and we'll give it away. So this giveaway for Mother's Day ran for 5 days. It had two good things. One, it supported the Boys and Girls Club, and two, I could re-give it away. But it had a catered brunch, it had a massage gift certificate, and it had a cleaning gift certificate. And so on Monday before Mother's Day, we went ahead and submitted that on to social media. And when we do that, it's always a certain way. We always have the certificates in front of our logo. So we place that in front of our logo and the sign. It says enter to win. So it always kind of looks the same when they see that, they immediately say, oh, there's something that they're giving away. And then I'm going to read to you exactly what we have on here because it's so important that you get it correct on here. So he says giveaway includes, and we'll put down what the giveaway includes. And then we say giveaway closes Friday and whatever day it is that we're closing. So we let them know what time it closes and what time of day it closes. So at 9 a.m. on Friday, we went ahead and closed it, and we'll announce the winner on that day. And then we put on here that there's a few items that they need to do. And what they need to do to enter is that there's 2 easy steps. One, they engage in this post, so they can like, comment, or share. 2, they can complete the form. And there's a little bit.ly form. It says bit.ly/Gillott giveaway. And they complete the form. And then it says giveaway closes Friday, and again, what time it is. And then we tell them best of luck and all that great stuff. We also mention on there that please be aware there's some false accounts that may be impersonating us and trying to contact you regarding this, because there have been some people that pretend like they have a Gillott account and they say, hey, you've won, give us your credit card number. So we've just let them know up front that we'll never ask for their credit card number, that it will be us. We'll announce it on social media. We'll never call you directly on this. We're going to announce it, and then we're going to reach out to you.
That's so brilliant. As I'm listening to this, in my mind, I'm tallying up all the wins. The first win, if you're buying these packages from something like the Boys and Girls Club, there's a ton of goodwill that happens there, and it's just a great thing to support.
Yes.
Then when you're making this post, there's a ton of people that are seeing it, even if they don't register. So you're getting a win of being top of mind and capturing mind share.
Yeah.
Then the third one is the people that do register, they got to engage with the post, which is genius. So you probably look like you get a ton of likes and a ton of comments. And when they register, are you capturing their information in some way?
I sure am. So that's what I'm going to go into next. So that's the exciting part of this. So just to give you an example, that little Mother's Day post ran for 5 days. We had 269 shares. We had 354 comments. And we had, I could look here, 533 people sign up to win. And they used the Google form. On the top of the Google form is the picture that we use on Facebook. So makes them know that they're at the right spot. And then we realized over time, the best questions to ask is, would you like to purchase a home or investment property? And it's a required field, and it says yes, no, or maybe. So the maybe gets the most clicks. So they'll say yes, no, or maybe. And so they'll put that through on here.
Wait a minute. Why do you think the maybe gets the most clicks?
Well, because they don't have to be committed. Like, yeah, I'd like to buy one, but I don't want to say yes because I don't want them to, just really come at me on buying something. But if I say maybe, like maybe I would be interested in buying something, like I'd like to discuss it more, but I'm not confident enough to say yes. So maybe opens up the door for conversation.
It's brilliant.
Yeah. So we do that. And then the next question we said is curious on what your home, land, commercial property is worth in today's market. And with that, they get yes, they get no, and they get in a few months, perhaps.
That's so smart.
So those are our 3 ones. So yes, thank you, no, thank you, and in a few months, perhaps. So maybe they don't want one right now, but maybe in the future they'd like one, so they mark that. So it gives us, again, opening up the door for us to possibly do a market analysis for them in the future.
And which is the most popular answer for that question?
Well, probably no is the most popular answer, but then the second most popular is perhaps in a few months, and then yes.
When it comes back and it's a yes, that's got to feel like the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, it is so great. And it's just immediately we can reach out and get them and get their CMA set up. So then our next question, which kind of sounds similar to the first question, but it allows us to know if they're thinking of selling or would they just like a market analysis for their needs. So the next question we ask is, considering selling your home, land, or commercial property? Yes, no, maybe. So if they say yes, they'd like a market analysis, no, they're not considering selling, then we just know it's somebody who would like a market analysis on their home. And we'll do those all day long. But if they say maybe they're considering selling or yes, they're considering selling, then we know we have a legitimate possibility that we can nurture this person into selling their home. So it kind of gives a little insight on that. And it's very non-threatening. The next question we realize is the best one is, do you know of anybody looking to buy or sell real estate? And it says, no, not at this time. Or yes, contact me. I have a potential referral for you.
That must feel so good when they check that one too.
Yes. And they check these. So it's so nice to get these immediate business from this. So those are another question. Then our last question we ask is, would you be interested in one of the following offerings? A monthly newsletter, a career night, a home builder class, real estate investor class, home buyer class, or seller class? So that then they may say nothing up above, but they may say they would like to come to an investor class, or they may say they would like a home seller class, or they'd like a career night. So those are items that they can mark on there that gives us insight. And then also we tag them in our CRM. So that way, when we do have our next career night, when we do have our next investor class, we can invite all those folks that raise their hand saying they'd like to attend one to that class.
I think that is so smart. And if you're sitting out there and you're saying, well, no one wants to fill that stuff out. Friend, she had 533 people fill it out in order to win on Mother's Day. She's not guessing about this. These are facts.
These are facts. And I can show you the back end. It's all legit. It's all good stuff.
Needless to say, if you're going to run this model in your market, you may choose to consult with a local attorney to make sure that it all complies with the opt-in to be able to contact them after the fact.
Yep, that's very good advice on that. So the nice thing is about the Google form is that it puts it right into a Google spreadsheet. So it's very easy to manage on there. It's very easy to sort. It's very easy to put into our CRM. And then we make certain everything gets put into our CRM and tagged. So it gets tagged not only with the event that they did, but what they marked on the form. So if they marked yes or maybe, they get marked that in the CRM so we can pull up all our yes and maybes and reach out to those folks.
And which CRM do you use?
So we use two. So we use Sync and we use Command.
Fantastic. Is entering this information a manual thing, or does it sync directly in?
You can do Zapier and have it zapped over, but we realize that when that happens that we need to have all the tags on there. And if they're already in our CRM, it doesn't zap very well. So we have some VA and some Saturday help that comes in our office and they do data entry for us.
I love that.
Yeah. And the nice thing is on the spreadsheet, you can just add a line that says, added to database and they can just mark it off. So I can always look to see who's been added, who hasn't been added. The ISAs can add their notes to it. The Google Sheet is so nice.
It's so great. Okay, so now they're in the system. What happens next?
So I can give you for what happened off the Mother's Day one, because I did some stats on that. So out of the 533 people, 34 people on that said they would like a CMA on their property. So 5 days, 1 week, $1,000, 34 people, CMAs. 20 of them said they had referrals for us. So that was great. 30 people said yes to career night. We had 14 people said they'd like to attend a seller class. We had 48 people said they'd like to attend a buyer class. 22 people said they'd like to come to the home builder class. 22 people also said investor class. 110 people said they'd like to get our newsletter. So it was 110 people that wasn't on our newsletter that was getting our newsletter. And 360 said, no, thank you to nothing. They didn't want anything, which was fine. And so again, that's just 5 days, one giveaway, and just the results off of that. So I said, everyone should be doing these. These are great.
My head is spinning right now. The ROI just on the 34 CMAs and the 20 referrals. Forget the other 140 people that you had opted into something different in the business. That's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. That's why I'm like, this is so great. This is such a great tool for us to be able to mine our social media database and get them into our CRM. So it's a great tool for us to use to grab them and put them in. And then I just kind of looked to say, like, what's happened since then? And it looks like out of those Mother's Day ones, we're showing property to 5. We've set 8 appointments. So I wish that it was a little bit higher than that, but that's kind of just where we're at. So that means we're nurturing quite a few of them still. There's one listing that we have listed. There's one under contract. So it's only been a few months. It takes a little bit for this to brew and get under contract and everything to that nature. But these are people that we didn't have in our database before that we have in our database now. We have the chance to invite them to other events, invite them to our next giveaway. So these are just online events, and then we can invite them to our face-to-face events once they get in and get going.
It's amazing. Literally, like, it's amazing. This show, it's absolutely unpacked an amazing model. Think about what's happening. Here's what Gary Keller tells us. Gary Keller tells us that real estate is a contact sport. Now, what does that mean? Because you've seen it on t-shirts. What it means is you have to wake up in the morning every day and you have to make contact with people. And the more people that you make contact with, the more often you're going to find people who want to buy and sell real estate. What Laura's done, the thing that's so powerful about this is, number one, it happens every single week. Number two, it leads to both growing and nurturing her database. And the reason is because when they're forced to interact with the post, think about it, 270 people shared the post, which means that her post is showing up in their feeds. And all of a sudden, her reach expands. It's also nurturing because her people every week are seeing these opportunities. You know what's happening here? She's inviting them to have a richer life journey. And you know how she's doing it? She's by giving away the things that people want through these raffles. Every time she does it, it shows up in their feeds and they say, oh my gosh, here's another opportunity to enrich my life brought to you by Laura. And as long as she continues to do it, she stays in front of them. That's the genius of this model. To them, it feels organic. But you add 16,000 people a year to your database, you create people raising their hand every single week who want CMAs and to take classes and to register with your newsletter. You know there's nothing organic about it. Friends, this is a purposeful model that you cannot afford not to try. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Now, how many of these do you do, or are you going to be doing a year?
Yeah. So we run a giveaway almost every week because the nice thing about like the Speedway giveaway, every week we have the passes to give away in the summertime. And so on that one, we open the form up on the Google form. We put it out there, the same questions every time, like, share, fill out the Google form. And then we shut it down every Friday and we announce the winners on Friday. And so that runs all summer long. And so far on like that one, we've gotten 1,684 as of today. People have signed up for the Speedway giveaway. And on that, I can show you the back end. It is a massive amount of people that are raising their hands with having real estate needs.
That's so tremendous. So what happens to the 300 or so odd people that didn't want anything other than to register? Do you drip on them or do you just let them go into the world?
I kind of let them go into the world just because I asked them, they politely said no, that they didn't want anything. We have a hard enough time keeping up with the people that do say they want something. So I really don't want the agents of the ISA wasting their time, trying to nurture someone who says, hey, I have no needs right now, because there's plenty of people raising their hands saying they do have needs. So those are the ones I want to get to first. They do go into our database. We just put them in a status and we do tag them for the event. So they will get invited to the next event. And if we're doing something over again, like let's say National Night Out or something like that, we'll re-invite those people to that event because we knew they attended to that event once before. Or if we're going to redo like a Mother's Day thing, we'll let them know that we're doing it again.
I mean, when you do the napkin math, and I'm just taking this 1 week, when you add up from the CMA to the referrals to the people that registered for the classes, you had 292 people that raised their hand for something. You take that over 52 weeks and you're adding almost 16,000 people a year into the database.
Yeah. And the great thing about it for us is that before we were very event database driven from the events, and it was so much work to put an event on and to be in an event and to show up. And it was just so much more of there. And that we realized that these online events or giveaways that we're doing is bringing just as much business as a face-to-face event. We wouldn't know they had any real estate needs unless we ran an event and they raised their hand. So now they've raised their hand, we have the opportunity to build that relationship, invite them to some other events that we do, and to nurture those people until they're ready to do business with us.
I interviewed Daniel Dixon the other day, and if you haven't listened to his episode of this show, please go and do that. It was a great episode, and he used to work at Trulia before he became a real estate agent. And Laura, he said to me, real estate agents are a little bit twisted in the way they think about business opportunities, in that the same human who's registering online at Zillow or Truly or Realtor.com because they're finally ready to do something that you're willing to pay a 40% give or take referral fee for, you probably could have gotten by giving away a Yeti cooler if you would have done it 6 months earlier.
Yeah, it's just a great way to fish in our social media database. And we still can offer, like if we're doing a giveaway and we give out our newsletter, we might tell our database here, we're doing a giveaway, come to this. But a majority of the leads are coming from the social media. It's not coming so much from our database.
So when you look back on this long storied career, and I'm just looking at these numbers, this feels like, have you had something else that generates this many people raising their hand at this cost ever in your life?
No, and I'm going to say because of the events, we're inviting our database to come to the events. So one, it is cementing that relationship and it's making us be their friend for life, that they'll always rely on us to do their business, but it's not bringing in new business. This is bringing in new business that is our friends of friends. So if our friend shares our giveaway on their page, then we get to hit their friends. And then it just widens out the net that we can assist more people.
And I think that's genius what you just said. And that's really interesting because it was easy to gloss over. You had 269 shares from the Mother's Day week.
Yeah.
And I didn't really get it at the moment. I was like, okay, cute number. But now that I'm thinking about it, that's 269 people who shared your giveaway with their sphere of influence.
Right. And those are people that we may not know and people that they're saying they trust the Gillott home team. So, we'll go ahead and sign up for this. And then when we reach out to them, if they have any thoughts about real estate, then we can start building that relationship and building that trust with them and gaining their business.
So how did you stumble onto this? Was this a happy accident? What's the origin story of this whole thing?
Yeah. Well, it started kind of with COVID. So on COVID, we couldn't have our events anymore. And so we said, well, since we can't have people, coming to our events, we can't have them registering for events. Why don't we have something online that we give away? And we started doing some online giveaways, and then that started building up. And then we just kept that going because it was so fruitful and so much return on investment. And it helps us, mine our social media database that brings people in. And then we're just like, these are bringing us more business than our actual events. And we were like, this is great. Let's just keep this going. So we always try to find something that we can always have some type of giveaway going. And then summertime is easier because we have the Willamette Speedway giveaway, but then we'll plug in other giveaways too. And like I just went to a Fences for Fido event on Sunday and I bought a ticket. It had OSU tickets to go watch the football game and it had the stadium blankets and a big basket, and we'll end up giving that way, closer to October when the game is. But people love the experience ones. Anything that you can do, like this, the Mother's Day one is it's total experience. So they really do love that. Those seem to work better than the Yeti coolers or Traeger barbecues. Those ones do get some traction, but the whole experience thing works even well. Now, even tell you, like, we have a Strawberry Festival in our town, and we can get tickets to the Strawberry Festival. They're like $10 each. And we went ahead and bought, I think we got 4 tickets with our sponsorship. So I went ahead and donated those online, which they all love that we do this because it helps bring attention to their event, people to their event. But there was $40 that was spent, and I put it on there, and it got like over 500 people signed up for these tickets. And I thought, oh no, I feel guilty that so many people signed up for these $40 tickets. Like 4 tickets were $40. I'm like, let's go get some bracelets, and let's go get some carnival tickets, and let's go get some parking pass. Let's go get some more, and let's run another one, because I felt so bad that we didn't spend that much money and everyone signed up for that one. I'm like, let's give them something with a little more value. So it doesn't have to be of huge value on that, because that was $40 and it gave us 500 people signed up for it.
The biggest no-brainer in the history of Earth. Friends, give this a go. Laura, I think this is brilliant. My dear, we would like to invite you to the lightning round. We want to ask you a series of questions. We want the first thing that comes to your mind. Will you play with us?
Yeah, I will.
Favorite food?
Artichokes.
Friends, that's a first on this show, and we are the #1 podcast in our space. No one's ever said that. Now, what is the best way to prepare an artichoke? Are you boiling that and then eating it with dipped in butter?
I dip it in mayonnaise.
It's fantastic, by the way. That's a
Yes.
good change. I love that. Is there a favorite genre of music that you like?
I'm either country or Christian.
Fair. And where's the best vacation spot? You've been all over.
I love the Grand Caymans.
It's so beautiful.
It's so nice there.
And what's your favorite time of year to go there?
All year round, it's the same temperature. It's like 85 degrees. and doesn't matter when you go. So I've been all different times, and it's the same every time.
You've been doing this a long time. You got plenty of money. You run this giant business. You probably could be just sitting in the Caymans watching the sun rise and set each day. What do you wake up with such a fire for this industry all these years later?
Well, protecting my community, helping them with their real estate needs, giving opportunity to the team and to the younger group of ages that are coming up and happens. It's just really great to see everyone doing so well and just being able to be a resource.
When you look at the industry and you do it through your lens of time and perspective, what's your message to the industry for the next 5 years? If you could be the voice in their head, what would you tell them?
I would say be their friend in the business, give to your community, give to your people around you, and be someone that spreads the joy. I love that shirt that Gary had with the frown upside down or right side up. Choose joy, help your clients get through this. Is a stressful time for them, and you want to be able to guide them and show them the light of buying real estate and how great it is.
I love that. Is there a book, and it doesn't have to be a new one, is there a book that you read that you think helped frame the way you think about life and business?
The Happiness Advantage is one of them that I really do like, because that's a lot of choosing the happiness, and I love it, like Atomic Habits and things to that nature. There's some good books there.
It's fantastic. Laura, thank you for everything that you're doing for the industry and everything that you've done for Keller Williams. We're really grateful.
Thank you for everything you guys are doing. I appreciate you guys a ton.
Are you irritated? Is there any part of you that's irritated? Are you sitting there? Are you driving in the car and you're a little irritated because what she is doing is so simple and yet absolutely genius? That's how I felt when I heard it. I was thinking, my gosh, why have I not been doing this for the last 25 years of a real estate career? It's so easy. Number one, you buy the experience, whatever it's going to be, whether it's a trip to the spa or the tickets. Number two, you make the post. And then by making the post, you make interacting with it and filling out the survey the key, which means you're already winning. Then you simply ask the questions in the survey that she's directing us to ask, and then all you do is the follow-up. I'm speechless, which has never happened before on this program. Give this a go. I'm not going to wax poetically about why. I think you just heard it. I'm not even going to ask you if you think it fits in with what you're currently doing. Here's what I'm going to tell you. All the people are on social media. Go to where the people are. Give them reasons to interact with you. She nails it. Friends, please go forth and do likewise. There it is. That wraps another episode. Friends, I don't know what you're taking out of this. I really don't. I'll tell you what I want you to be taking out of it, which is these are the people that are having tremendously big lives. And the reason it's happening is because they're setting up the models and systems to do just that. Gary Keller told me that leadership is teaching people how to think so that they do the things they need to do when they need to do them, so that ultimately they get the things they want when they want to have them. And that's what I want for you. You're all leaders, but it begins with leading ourselves. If you're enjoying this podcast, I want you to click the subscribe button anywhere that you get your podcasts. We want to be the voice in your head every single week. And every week we're dropping new content. We also send out a newsletter at the conclusion of every show to make sure that you get the highest points in the models and systems that were discussed. So if you want to sign up, I need your name and your email address. Head over to the millionaireagentpodcast.com. millionaireagentpodcast.com. Enter your name and your email address, and every week that newsletter will be in your box. Friends, you just went on a journey. I hope that what happens between now and the next time we meet is absolutely wonderful for you. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.
This podcast is for general informational purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions of the guest represent those of the guest and not KWRI and its affiliates, and should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, tax, or other advice. This podcast is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or results from using the information. Warning. You must comply with the TCPA and any other federal, state, or local laws, including for B2B calls and texts. Never call or text a number on any do not call list, and do not use an autodialer or artificial voice or pre-recorded messages without proper consent. Contact your attorney to ensure your compliance.